Yo, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. It's Oscar and we're back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about something super cool, something that most people probably don't know about. We're going to be talking about what happens to old casino chips when casinos close, what happens to the higher denoms, the lower denoms, everything above. We have primary, secondary sets. What happens to those chips in Nevada, outside of Nevada, cruise chips, and stuff like that. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. Might be pretty insightful. I try to make these videos as informative and helpful as possible, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy, learn something, and yeah, let's get into it. So like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about chips in Nevada. We're going to be talking about chips outside of Nevada, outside the US, cruise chips. Europe, I don't know too much about, but I want to talk about all these aspects because Nevada itself has very different rules than let's say states outside of Nevada. So we're talking about California, Indiana, all these different states other than Nevada. Nevada has these special gaming rules that has to do with the Nevada Gaming Commission and all that type of stuff. So let's dive into Nevada first, and then we'll go into the other ones because, like I mentioned, Nevada's a little bit, it's different. So, in the state of Nevada, you have the Nevada Gaming Commission, of course. Nevada Gaming Commission has been, around since gaming started, and they're constantly tracking, what chips, playing cards, all these different types of stuff. So, back in the day, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, casinos used to, be able to order chips and then replace the old ones without, having to discard the old ones, get rid of them, destroy them, whatever you might be. There was no reason to ultimately, destroy them because, maybe you had somebody walk in, they possibly were able to cash that old chip, but most of the time chips were canceled with a drill hole, which I wish I had a sample, but I'll show a picture of a chip on the screen, and most of the time they would just drill a hole, and that would essentially cancel the chip, meaning that the casino has started a new chip line or new chips are in play, and you wouldn't be able to cash those old chips. You wouldn't be able to use those old chips on the table if you walked in and had them with you. Same thing goes for playing cards. Back in the day, at least I know in Atlantic City and stuff like that, playing cards are used to, use the playing cards on the blackjack table. Casinos discard them after a night or two of use, most likely a night. And back in the day, they used to drill a hole right in the center of the deck. Nowadays, they just clip the corners. So they essentially just make the corner rounded instead of, the rounded it is. They usually either slice it at like a 45-degree angle, or they make it even more rounded. So, and then usually a Sharpie mark on the side. So those are the ways that, they cancel decks in Nevada, at least. As far as chips nowadays, and I believe, I hope I have the year right on this. I believe it was in the late 80s, casinos had to start doing this thing where if a casino ordered new chips, the head of the Gaming Commission board, at least from my knowledge, would show up to the casino, they get a wood chipper, and essentially watch every single chip that they had from that previous, iteration of those chips. Literally watches every single one of those chips get destroyed and make sure there's none left in the casino, because the casino is bringing in new chips. They don't want old chips on the tables. You do that, there's going to be a big problem because their books are going to be messed up. Everything's going to be messed up. You don't want any of that. So nowadays, head of gaming commission comes in, wood chipper in the back, and they throw all the chips, the cash chips, NCV and tournament chips, roulette chips, and promo chips, stuff like that. Those, since they have no value, those are technically, allowed to, let's say, be sold in an auction if the casino closes. Like we recently saw with the Mirage, there was a whole lot of Mirage roulette chips sold on auction on eBay. Somebody had gotten them, and then there was, a whole bunch of the tables and stuff like that sold afterwards as well. So that's why you're never going to see racks and racks and racks of cash chips on eBay or some special auction site. Those have to be destroyed, at least in Nevada. Like I said, NCV, tournament, roulette chips, well, NCV and tournament, but roulette chips, promo chips, those chips are all okay to, let's say if they do switch hands, somebody buys them, that's okay because they technically don't have any value. I think a couple of years ago, the Lakeside Inn, that was a prime example. Lakeside Inn, there was the NCV chips, there was the tournament chips, or the NCV tournament chips, and the roulette chips. Since they had no value, they were part of the Lakeside auction, and they were sold off. So that's just one thing for Nevada. Other states outside of Nevada. Luckily, on PCF, we do have the Chip Room, which is an awesome source to be able to get chips, from older casinos, or at least, I wouldn't say older casinos, but current day casinos that are closing, whether it be a year or so, after it closes 6 months, you have the ability to go on the Chip Room, let's say on PCF, and you have the ability to buy, let's say, a Grand Victoria 1K chip. You have the opportunity to buy an Isle Pompano Park 5K chip, or, a Majestic Star 1K chip from Gary, Indiana. You have all these opportunities to buy these really cool, oversized, high denomination chips, which, generally, you'd have to walk into a casino. You'd have to pay $1,000 or $5,000 to get the chip itself. And most people just, frankly, don't have the money to do that. Some people, just want some ones, some fives, maybe a barrel of ones, maybe a barrel of fives, maybe a few 25s and 100. That's what they'll take from the casino. But with the Chip Room, you can actually build a set of old chips. And luckily, we have that ability, we have that option on PCF to go on there. Maybe once or twice a year, there's these big, closed casino sales. This most recent one was the New Orleans Harrah's, which was awesome. Some of the, it was a secondary set being sold, but how else would have you been able to get those chips? Mint the secondary sets, I'll explain in a second, but you have mint condition 100s, 500s, 1Ks, 1Ks, 5Ks, 25Ks, and even 100K chips. Before then, you had the Harrah's New Orleans tournament chips. Those were awesome. Those are probably the sickest, tournament chips we've seen from the Chip Room and in general, just any sale in a long time. They were leaded, spotted, amazing colors, super really, just everything that a chip person would have loved was in that sale. Now let me get back to the secondary set, because secondary sets are something that most people don't know about. You hear primary and backup sets. The primary chips are what everybody knows. The secondary sets is something that, if you're in the chip hobby, you really know about it. But you have primary and secondary sets in all casinos. Primary sets are the chips that are being used on the tables. Secondary sets are the backup chips if, for some reason, the first primary chips get compromised, something happens, somebody brought in chips that are counterfeit, like a whole lot of them, and just everything needs to be swapped quick. They will bring out the secondary chips and put them in play if needed. They will discard the primary chips and get brand new chips ordered if they have to. Now, I don't know how many times that's happened, and I don't really know the exact measures of why that happens, but I do know every single casino has a primary and a secondary set. Hence the reason the Harrah's New Orleans, I'm not sure where the primary chips are, whether they got sold in auction or what happened to them, but the secondary set was sold off to the Chip Room, and the Chip Room sold them off on PCF to, chippers like me, like you, like the community. So that gives us, like I said, the opportunity to get the set of our dreams, a tournament set, whether it be a cash set or something like that. You have the opportunity to get those chips. Otherwise, you wouldn't. So that's just one thing. For cruise lines, I've seen plenty of things where most of the cruise line chips generally stick together, just because cruise lines are much smaller than casinos themselves. You only have maybe 10 tables to cover, and they're mostly, I wouldn't say 10 tables, but you have poker rooms in some cruise ships, and then you have blackjack tables and what other tables they might have. But you obviously don't have as many chips as a normal casino would. So generally cruise line chips, they all stick together. Same thing goes for roulette chips and NTV chips. Roulette chips and NTV chips, they generally stick together. There's no reason to, one person might have a rack, or one rack might go this way, because you need a full set of roulette chips to play roulette. For an NTV tournament set, you might have too many chips for one table, but if you're gonna go buy all of them, you're gonna buy all of them at once, and then you can do what you want with them. But like I said, cruise lines generally, chips tend to stay together, or it's relatively, I wouldn't say easy to find the rest of them, but I have heard in the last year or so there was one person built a pretty massive cruise line set, from one person knowing another person to another person, and all those chips conglomerated into one big set, and one of the sickest sets I've ever seen. So that's for cruise lines. Out of the country stuff, I think it just comes down to the country and what the legislation is for gaming commission and stuff like that. I myself, I don't personally know. I have seen people finding chips on PCF from Canada. The chips, you might find 15 to 1,000 chips at once, or 2,500 chips. Maybe that's all the casino had. I'm not too sure. Maybe it was a small card room. That might be everything they had. But, the gaming laws here in Nevada and Vegas are much, much different than all around the world. All around the U.S., like I said, around the U.S., every state except Nevada, you have the opportunity to buy these old chips after the casino closes. That was the case in Nevada before the late 80s or the early 80s. Nowadays, all those chips, they get destroyed. The dice get destroyed. The decks, most of the time, get destroyed, but not often. Anything that has monetary value gets destroyed. Gaming tables generally, they get sold off in auction, whether it's one person or a few people buy all of them, and they might go to a collector, they might go to somebody who just wants to use it in their home, and slot machines and stuff like that. Most of the time, casinos, they don't buy them, they rent them. So slot machines get interswapped, interchanged in casinos all day long. You might see one get replaced, another one comes in. And, that's generally the thing all around the U.S. Unless you're some major casino and you've bought all the gaming equipment you can possibly need, then that's just profit for you. So, I don't know. Maybe it was an insightful video for you guys. If you guys enjoyed listening to my little spiel, hopefully you guys enjoyed and learned something. Because, like I said, most people, they probably don't know that you can get, 1K chip from Casino Magic, Majestic Star, Grand Victoria, Isle Pompano Park. What's another one? This is a pretty cool one. You have Ambassador Plaza 1K, the Paradise 1K, and this is from a cruise line. This is the Starlight 1K. Like I said, most people probably don't know you can get these chips after the place closes. And like I mentioned, it just depends on, what the casino wants to do with their stuff. Some casinos, they might want to get rid of them. They might want to destroy them. The owner might want to keep them, or, it all depends on the owner, the corporation, what they want to do, and so on and so forth. So, like I mentioned, hope you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you learned something. If you did, please drop a like. If you have any comments or any insight or any, fun stories of a closed casino or something like that, put that in the comments. Let other people know. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And I will definitely catch you guys in the next one. Peace.